Greetings metalheads and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I'm back with yet again more Heavy Relics, another episode of Heavy Relics where I'm going to be showing off 5 new vinyl acquisitions. They're all reissues, but they're all very nice albums indeed. My latest additions to the collection, and they're all very much cut and dry heavy metal here. So we've got a real nice selection of traditional heavy metal LPs. As I say, these are reissues, but these are really, really nice packages. So I'll take you through this nice little batch. Got to admit that heavy metal as a subgenre, I'm talking traditional, good old heavy metal, NWOBHM, or just traditional metal, is always a subgenre that I gravitate back towards. It just has that essence, that magic to it. That feeling of heritage that without heavy metal in the form of, you know, that traditional style, I'm talking bands like Diamond Head, Tigers of Pantang, Saxon, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, the list goes on of course, but just to mention a few bands, without those bands there wouldn't be any black metal, death metal, thrash metal, grindcore. It all originated from that traditional heavy metal. You know, and of course everything else that came before that, but we're talking heavy metal. So if you couldn't guess, heavy metal is a subgenre that I absolutely love. So what could be better than modern interpretations of traditional heavy metal? This is the first article that we'll be talking about today. This is from a band called Toledo Steel, and this is the debut album from, I think it was 2018 actually. This is entitled No Quarter. Now this album is a very fine album indeed. Toledo Steel are, as I say, they are a modern band interpreting that classic style of traditional heavy metal. This is a very NWOBHM sounding album. They are a British band from Bournemouth, of all places. Not exactly the heavy metal capital of the world, but they've produced a very sound band here. And this is a really, really solid album. I think that Toledo Steel only have the 2 full lengths currently, two full length albums to date, I should say. But this is a real beast. I bought this as a total wild card. I think I stumbled upon all of these items actually came from the same seller, and I was intrigued in another couple of items, and I saw this logo and I thought, if that's not a heavy metal band, then I'll be damned. A quick bit of Metal Encyclopedia research concluded pretty soundly that this is a heavy metal band, and once Spotify was there to confirm with a few tracks that I checked out, I couldn't resist but picking up this album. This is a really good album, just a nice good old fashioned black vinyl, new and sealed as it was, but this album is really solid. This is very strongly leaning towards the Maiden and Priest side of things. I know that's a pretty general term. Isn't every heavy metal band going to be leaning towards Priest and Maiden? Yes. But throughout this album, there's a lot of serious Halford leaning vocal approaches. We've got a bit of Bruce in there. And just instrumentation. There's a lot of those kind of folky twin guitar medleys that we get from Maiden. We also get that rockin', very slightly sort of blues stomping riff work that we would expect from the classic Priest. Absolutely killer album though, really start to finish. This is quite a good length album. It's sort of getting towards the hour mark. Absolutely solid. Behold the Machine, the title track No Quarter. Cemetery Lake is a very, very Priest infused track. Visions in the Fire, very Maiden indeed. Sight of the Sniper. You get the picture. This is, and of course we've got track number 7 there, Heavy Metal Headache. Says it all really. A really solid album. If you like Maiden, if you like Priest, and if you like the more modern interpretations of that traditional heavy metal, if you like bands like Tail Gunner, or another good example, Enforcer, perhaps, then you're definitely going to dig this. I would say that they are just as good as those previously mentioned couple of bands there. Really solid album. Definitely check this one out. This is Toledo Steel with No Quarter. Heavy Metal Thunder. So up next then we have a heritage band, a true heritage band, one of the unsung heroes of the British heavy metal scene. They did come about the same sort of time as the new wave of British heavy metal, and essentially they are part of the new wave of British heavy metal, but I don't really consider them to sound like a new wave of British heavy metal band. To me, Raven almost stood out a little bit closer to bands like MotorHead and Venom, where they're fast, they've got speed metal stuff going on there, it's heavy metal, it's got that kind of blistering aggression and attitude, fast paced, but it's not the twin guitar melodies and the kind of galloping riffs that we would get with bands like Saxon or Iron Maiden, typically. They're a little bit different. They sit outside of that. But this is the second album. This is entitled Wiped Out, which is actually my favourite of the classic 3 albums. This was released in 1982, following Rock Until You Drop, and then, of course, the All For One, third album that was probably the most successful out of the 3, I would say. It's certainly the one that seems to get talked about the most. But this is a lovely double album. I'll just show off this rather nice coloured vinyl here. It's a really good shade of red. Really nice, deep red there. I should mention that I think all of these releases are actually back on black recent reissues. And I've got no problem with reissues. I know some people are really purist about it and absolutely won't touch reissues. To be honest, if you can get hold of the stuff again, if you can actually get those albums to give it a spin, you know, have it in the collection, complete your discography. Certainly if you're a collector like me, I like to have the full discography. I like to be able to, you know, draw my own conclusions and have my own interpretation of the album, rather than just sort of read a few reviews and write it off before I've checked it out. But either way, these are really nice reissues, really high quality. As I say, this is a nice double album, so we've got a cool gatefold there, with some cool shots. And on the back there, we've got really cool photograph kind of montage there. Really nice. But this is a great album. I think this is a cracking album. And this to me is closer, as I say, to Motorhead, closer to Venom than it is Saxon or Diamond Head, for sure. So we've got some classic tracks on here. The opening track, Faster Than the Speed of Light, is an absolute belter. That's proper speed metal stuff. Bring the Hammer Down is absolutely cracking. To the Limit, to the Top. We've got the rather odd Live at the Inferno, which is kind of a short introductory piece, if you like. Star War, interesting choice of title there, considering the time. Then we've got Hold Back the Fire, and we've also got the inclusion of bonus material on this one, which is really cool, which includes the Crash Bang Wallop classic. Hopefully you can see that track list there. It's a really, really solid album. I just think this is enjoyable, old school, traditional heavy metal with a strong speed metal injection. You know, if you like Motorhead, you like Venom, you like early Celtic Frosts or Circa, Morbid Tales, then you're going to enjoy this. This is good stuff. British heavy metal. The Gallagher brothers, John and Mark, absolute legends. Absolute legends. A fantastic album. Definitely one to check out if you like your traditional heavy metal in the speedy vein. So sticking with Raven then, the legendary Raven, we'll go with their legendary live album. This is Live at the Inferno, a double live album, a homage, a tribute to their fans. It says quite awesomely on the back here, special thanks to all Raven lunatics everywhere. You're the greatest. It's nice. It's a nice thing, to be honest. Live album material wise, the set list here is great. There is no denying that. However, for some reason, this album seems to get an awful lot of stick, and I don't really understand why. Just show off that nice inside here. It's a nice gatefold. I think this isn't the best live album ever. This isn't Live After Death. This isn't, you know, Strangers in the Night or anything of that league, Unleashed in the East. But this is actually just a solid live album. Certainly if you're a Raven fan, you're going to enjoy this, because it's a good live rendition of some classic Raven tracks. Again, nice coloured vinyl Ta-da! Lovely red vinyl, very fitting. Red logo, red vinyl. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Live at the Inferno. Good set list. We've got the inclusion of basically all their sort of classics from that early era. We've got tracks such as Take Control, Mind Over Metal, Crash Bang Wallop, Rock Until You Drop, Fasten the Speed of Light, All for One, Star War, Wiped Out, Firepower, Hell Patrol, and then we've got Live at the Inferno as well. It's a really, really solid album. Does it say where and when this was recorded? I cannot quite remember. Oh well, it was released in 1984 anyway, live at the Inferno, in fact. But you know what? I think this is a bit of an underrated live album. It's an enjoyable listen. If you like live heavy metal, live speed metal, then you're definitely going to enjoy this. It's got, as I say, it's got all the classic Raven tracks that you would expect to hear from those first three albums. It's not really too much to fault with it. And as I say, I don't really understand why it seems to get as much stick as it does. Because I think, no, it's not the best, but it's certainly a solid live album. Live at the Inferno, from the legendary British heavy metal awesome band that they are, Raven, the mighty Raven. Not everyone's cup of tea. John's vocals do take a little bit of getting used to, but you know what? They're a great band. And actually, they have survived really well over the years, considering that their album that came out this year, All Hell Breaking Loose, absolutely solid. That is a solid heavy metal album. So, up next then, we're going back to the modern interpretations of classic heavy metal. And the band that I always think of when I think, the revival band that's really bringing back heavy metal, traditional style heavy metal, NWOBHM worship, the band that's spearheading that movement, to me anyway, is Enforcer from Sweden. They've been around since about 2004, I believe, and this is their third album, and personally my favourite certainly from the earlier catalogue. This is Death by Fire. This is proper heavy metal. I mean, just look at that back shot there of the band. That lineup shot. That is heavy metal. That screams heavy frickin' metal. It's a really solid album. Really solid. Not overly long. It's just a single album, but we get a nice gatefold form here. It's really, really cool. Nice, cool shots as well of the band. Really solid. I mean, the first half of this album is just essential Enforcer, with tracks like Bells of Hades, Death Rides This Night, Run for Your Life, Mesmerized by Fire, Take Me Out of This Nightmare. You've got melodic, heavy metal, you've got great grooves, great melodies, really great musicianship. You cannot fault these guys one little bit. Solid start to finish, and it's just great heavy metal. It's great heavy. Vocals are brilliant, very powerful performance. In this particular form, we've got a nice kind of clear and red and white splatter vinyl. It looks the part. It's cool. It's cool. Even though there's a little bit of plastic sort of stuck on the edge there. Get off. Really cool. Really nice vinyl. Solid album. Absolutely. I would recommend this album to anyone that's never heard Enforcer. Anyone that's a fan of Priest. Anyone that's a fan of Diamond Head or the sort of NWOBHM heavy metal early albums of Def Leppard. This is essential listening. Absolutely fantastic. One of the best modern heavy metal bands around. Absolutely 100%, no doubt whatsoever. Death by Fire, released in 2013 from Enforcer, from Sweden. Heavy metal excellence. Frickin' raise those horns, put on your high tops and your skinny jeans, and headbang like a lunatic. Awesome stuff. Sticking with Enforcer then, we've got the first live album from the band. This is Live by Fire. This is the live album, funnily enough, that followed on from Death by Fire on that particular tour. Recorded live at Kaitaro Club Athens in 2013. Really solid. An absolutely brilliant live album in my opinion. Show you that inside there. Cool live shots of the band. Unsurprisingly, this live album heavily represents the Death by Fire album. As you can see there, with pretty much most of the first side, if not all of that first side. It's certainly an album that has a stronger first side than second side. Bells of Hades, Death Rides This Night, Mistress from Hell, Mesmerized by Fire. Got some classics in the form of Katana, Scream of the Savage, Midnight Vice, Evil Attacker. Really cool, and I think this is a nice colour vinyl as well, in fact. Nice white one if I remember, yeah. Nice white kind of splatter. Looks the part. But this is solid. I mean, considering this is a live album released after 3 studio albums, really strong musicianship throughout. This is the kind of live material, quality of live material that we would expect from a band that was 5, 6, maybe more albums into their career, and, you know, hitting those big arenas, hitting those big headline festival slots. These guys give it their all. This is powerful, energetic, top quality, precise heavy metal. Enforcer really are one of the best. This album, Live by Fire, is a superb live album. There's also a second part to this, Live by Fire 2, which came out a few years ago at the beginning of the whole COVID episode. I presume it was sort of to tie them over, you know, get something out there, keep their name relevant. But actually that's a really solid live album as well. Reviewed that many years ago. That was one of the first reviews I did on this channel. So you can check that out if you fancy a laugh, because I think it's just probably really cringy. Anywho, not that it's much better now. But this album is a solid live album. Really solid. I would definitely recommend checking this out. If you're a fan of Enforcer, this live material is brilliant. You're definitely going to be able to appreciate it. If you like your excellent live heavy metal, if you like Unleashed in the East, and if you like The Eagle Has Landed, this is something you need to check out. This is a solid heavy metal live album. Live by Fire from Sweden's Enforcer, leading the way with modern heavy metal. So, there you have it. That's 5 of my latest vinyl acquisitions, 5 new additions to my heavy metal catalogue. Please do feel free to share your thoughts and opinions on these albums. Just to remind you, we had Toledo Steel with No Quarter, their debut album. We have the second album from the legendary Raven. We've got Wiped Out from 1982. Solid album. Probably my favourite of that classic era, as I say. Then we've got the live album, Live at the Inferno from 84. Again, Raven, just delivering their awesome heavy metal. Then we've got the third album from Sweden's Enforcer, keeping it heavy, keeping it metal. This is Death by Fire. And the corresponding live album, Live by Fire, from 2015, I believe. An awesome album, absolutely awesome album. Recorded in 2013, I should say. Absolutely great stuff. So what are your thoughts and opinions on these bands? What are your thoughts and opinions on these albums? Please do feel free to comment. Feel free to share. Feel free to like and subscribe, my friends. It's always very much appreciated. Thanks for watching. Do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations. And above all, my friends, take care of yourselves and stay heavy.